Welcome
Mike's hot.
to Two Jerks in a Pod.
Welcome to Jerks in the Pot.
Today, what are you going to say?
I'm just going to introduce us.
Oh, go ahead, introduce us. Introduce us.
Steve Devo, Two Jerks in the Pot. He took the thunder away. I think he did that before, too.
Yeah, I'm notorious for doing
We've done
that.
that a couple times before, but
I'm notorious for doing
go
that.
ahead. He wants to jump right into the show.
Well, you know.
Actually, no, we should jump right into the show. Where you got something to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what? Goal setting.
In terms of?
Our reach.
Of?
Subscribers.
Okay.
What do you think is a realistic goal that we should try to attain by, let's say, summer? So like August.
Oh, wow, so you mean we actually have to put in work?
Are we not going to put in work?
You saying we actually have to put in work?
I would say we have been putting in work.
No, I agree. I mean, we've been putting in work in terms of,
We've been pretty consistent.
With content.
We've been pretty consistent.
I think on the back end we have stuff we gotta,
I mean, we can always improve.
Yeah, that's where I'm talking about. But I agree with you. So I think maybe that is the goal. That should be the goal. I think we could rock with that.
So you wanna put a number out there and manifest? 1,000
by when?
summer, August. 1,000 by August.
Okay.
It's realistic.
All right.
So you heard it, people. Help us out there. Help us out with that. 1,000 by summer.
Okay. I guess we gotta talk about a game plan to help us accomplish these strategic goals.
Well, it's all about these guys.
It's all about y'all. He's throwing it to y'all. I guess we're reaching out to y'all. I'm not gonna leave you out there. It's two jerks. One jerk in a pod don't sound nice.
There it is.
So all right, 1,000 by August.
1,000 by August.
All right.
Now,
Let's do it.
to the topic at hand.
Yes. Let's get into it.
Could be a bit of a touchy topic.
Could be.
Yeah.
Will be.
Well, you're right there. It's definitely
Will
a
be
touchy subject. It's definitely a touchy subject.
But get into it.
How to protect women from men. Is it even possible?
Well, here's what I have to say. How do you protect anyone from anyone?
That's kind of my whole theme with the subject. Because let me give you the guys the backstory here. So two things had me really talking about it. Number one, there was an incident where a woman was killed in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
First, she was kidnapped and then later murdered. They found her body.
Okay.
Now, the person that killed her, or the person that was arrested for killing her, was an officer. Male officer.
Okay.
And he had a female accomplice.
All right.
Now, while this was going on, the police in the area were like, women, stay at home at night.
Okay.
And if you're going to go out, be careful. And the best thing you can do is not be alone when you're outside at night.
All right.
Now, a lot of times, especially when men are the ones giving women the advice to protect themselves, regardless of what the manner of protection is, the feedback is, why are we the ones that need to protect ourselves? Why don't you teach men to do better? So, a politician, female politician, of course, in the House of Commons or whatever they call it, I'm not a politics guy, she suggested that there be a curfew for men, that all men need to be inside at 6 p.m.
I think I saw that clip you sent me.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, some people say she said that tongue in cheek to as a suggestion, like, oh, you're telling women to do this. Why don't we just put the men inside, keep them inside? Wouldn't that solve? That would keep all women safe.
Okay.
So what do you think about that?
I mean,
A curfew for men.
how does that protect women then if there's no men outside? If not all men are bad men, so there are men out there that go out of their way to protect women. So who would protect women if there's a curfew for men and all the, law-abiding men are inside, but then all the,
The criminals
criminals
who
are
happen to be men.
that no other men are inside. But if they're out and it's only women out, you know,
And
late
again,
night,
that's kind of my whole
it
theme. A
makes no
criminal will
sense.
always be a criminal. Like, if you're going to risk your freedom to go kill a person, you're not going to risk your freedom to break a curfew.
Yeah, I think that statement that she made she wasn't serious about it. She didn't mean that. I think it was just a comedic thing. Haha. It makes no sense. Like, honestly, think about it.
I agree.
It makes no sense to do something like that.
Plus, who would be enforcing the curfew?
Exactly.
Police, right?
Yeah. And is it gonna be male police officers or female?
Not
police
just
officers?
that, a police officer was the one that killed this woman.
Yes. Very true.
And then to add to that, a woman was that person's accomplice. So a woman was the murderer's accomplice. So why are we singling out the man in that crime and not the woman and saying let's put everybody on a curfew after 6? Wouldn't that make everybody safe?
Yeah. Then there's no one out there to be in harm's way.
Exactly. Because let's say all the men are out. Now all the female criminals are free to do whatever they want to do.
And who's gonna defend those women when the other women can't?
There you go. And then the other thing, I saw a post, and actually a friend of mine is the one that posted it, a girlfriend of mine, one of my homegirls. She posted something that said, protect your daughter. And that was crossed out, and under it was replaced with educate boys. And to me, it's kind of like the same thing like the politician was doing, where it's like, rather than take the advice of, okay, women, these men are out here doing stuff, protect yourselves, it's no, educate the men. And for me, it's like, who is not telling boys that this is wrong? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, a good parent is not gonna say, go criminal or go victimize women.
Yeah.
A civilized society is not gonna tell boys or men to go victimize people.
Yeah.
Nobody is condoning this stuff. So criminals will be criminals. And it's not like me saying boys will be boys. I'm saying criminals will be criminals.
No, facts. I hear you. And here's what I say to that too. Like, I honestly agree with both points. Protect your daughters and educate boys.
Exactly. You can't throw away one advice and just try to harp on the other.
Right. So that's where I look at it, because I can speak directly to that. So yes, I would want to protect my daughter, but then I would also want to educate her brother to make sure he understands how he needs to protect her as well, and how he needs to teach her to protect herself so he can better protect herself. There's a lot of learning and education and communication that doesn't happen. There's always that breakdown. That's why the protection, it's hard to protect people who don't want to be protected or don't know that they need to be protected until something happens. And then it's like, you didn't protect me or whatever. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's there's almost no answer for that.
And I mentioned I was having this conversation with a friend of mine who happens to be a girl, and it's good to have those conversations because you get different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, after talking with her, I get why that post resonated with her.
Okay.
Because me, I like analogies. So the analogy that I used was, imagine the same type of post, but instead of protect your daughter, it was like a parent telling their kid how to behave when dealing with cops. And then that was crossed out with no, teach cops better. I completely understand that.
Yeah.
And like it's frustrating to have to be a parent and tell your child that. Just like it's frustrating to have to tell your daughter this is how you need to move when you're out in the dark because some men might be out there looking to harm you, but you still have to do it.
You still have to do it. Facts. Yeah. No, I agree.
And again, it's frustrating, but like you have to let them know the dangers of the world.
Yeah.
And how to act according. There it is. And that's kind of like my whole point. The world is a messed up place.
Yeah.
And like at the end of the day, you can't expect the world to stop being messed up.
Yeah.
Because it's like instead of asking or instead of saying like we need to educate boys, it's the better thing or the thing that's really gonna change is getting criminals to not do that criminal activity.
But here's the thing, and here's my stance on everything. The information is already out there, so everyone is educated enough to understand
what's wrong and right.
Yes. So the education is already out there. So why do we need to educate people? People don't want to be educated.
And that's kind of where I was getting at, where it's like there's more than enough education to know, or there's more than enough reasons to know wrong from right.
Right. Yeah. So
it's like it's kind of like when you cross that out and say educate boys, it's like you're expecting criminals to never be criminals. And that's like an idealistic, perfect world that realistically
doesn't exist.
Bingo.
Realistically doesn't exist. Okay, so let's go to the main point then. So, is there an answer for how men can protect women?
I have an idea. It may seem wild, but let me ask you a question. Why do you think it is that men victimize women? Or even better, why do you think it is that men feel that they can victimize women?
The truth? I guess we feel like we're more dominant.
Bingo. At the end of the day, we are more powerful and women are by nature weaker. So it's like we're preying on a weaker species. To put
emotionally and whatever. It usually starts with emotions.
It's the same way a dude would pick on a weaker dude. He's not going to pick on a dude that he knows will mess him up.
Exactly. It's true.
So
it's part of the male species at the end of the day. You're always going to pick on the weaker,
there it is.
Of the pack.
So it's like, what could the weaker dude do to ensure he doesn't get picked on?
Basically, just comply and,
Or he could get stronger.
Radar.
He can make himself...
There's a lot of options he has.
He can make himself as powerful...
He could try, yeah.
As the next person. And there are many ways to do that. He can learn like a martial art. He could equip himself with some kind of weapon.
Hit the gym.
Hit the gym.
Facts.
So, why don't we apply that same thing to women? Give them something that will give them the upper hand and make them a little bit more powerful.
Okay, so here's the thing. Playing devil's advocate. There are a lot of women who do that and that can take care and defend themselves. But I still want to go to the point of the question that was asked. So that question that was posed, what can men do to protect women? Was that from a woman? Or was that just a general?
That was just a general question.
Okay. Because I think I've heard a few women throw that out saying men don't, well, it's usually directed towards black men.
Oh, yes. I know that one.
But how do you protect someone? Like, I'm pretty sure, okay, as a black man, you protect your mother. You protect your sister.
The best you can, absolutely.
Your cousins, right? the women in your life. So those are usually the women you're protecting. So the women that are saying black men or men don't protect women, do they have men in their lives? First and foremost. Because if you had men in your lives that genuinely loved you or that you genuinely loved, they would protect you. So you would have men to protect you. So that whole statement would not exist. So where's that statement coming from? That's like us saying, yo, there's no women out there that love men or that, we know there are women out there that love men.
I see what you're getting at.
It makes no sense. So to make a statement like that, in order for a man to protect you, you would need to have a man in your life or men in your life.
It's like
whether it's your brother, someone you're dating, like whatever it is, you should have men in your life that are protected. So that statement should be irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Can I say that? Can I say that what you're trying to get at is like, why are you not surrounding yourself with men
that are willing to protect you? And if you do have men there, why aren't they willing to protect you?
And if that is the case, perhaps you need to associate yourself with a different caliber of men.
Because then that becomes an isolated situation. It's not something that should be broadly directed towards all men. You should be looking at, why isn't this man in my life that I'm, whatever, why isn't he willing to protect me? Because if he's not willing to protect you, that doesn't mean other men feel the same way. You're just with one or a certain type of men that are never willing to protect you, or for whatever reason they don't want to protect you. There's always deeper, reasonings behind it, but that's where I don't understand that statement. Because when you first sent me the clip, I read the title and I was like, okay, here we go, one of these kind of thing, But then I thought about it, I'm like, I don't think there really is an answer. The only answer I have is find men in your life or place men in your life that are willing to protect you, and then that whole statement would never exist in your life. Because there are women out there who have male friends, male uncles, brothers, cousins that all protect them, and I'm sure they don't say there's no men out there. They don't need to say that.
And to your point, period. To your that part.
So whoever made that statement, if it did, like you said, I don't know. You said you didn't get it from, you don't know who posted the statement, but I've heard women say that though, bro. I'm just like, then just find those men, and if you can't find those men, that's a whole totally different situation, and that's like a you thing, not a we thing. If other women can find men to protect them, why can't you? And if same with we as men, if we can't find women to love us or whatever, why can't other men find women to love them? That's an isolated situation, so that's how I feel about it. But
that's very true. I just feel that I think when something happens to a woman, let's say a woman's walking down the street and she's dressed provocatively and something bad happens to her. If someone says, maybe you should cover up, and the response is, no, teach men to do whatever, I don't think you should just snap back at that, because maybe that's not the best example.
I mean,
maybe that's not the best example.
I know where you're going with that, but where I have to, I guess maybe again play devil's advocate is like, one, we all know she has the right to wear whatever she
Absolutely.
wants. Period. Everyone has the right to, dress and express themselves. Low life, dirty criminal has no right to violate someone's privacy. So to almost say, and then the part about like the first thing the person says is, oh, maybe you should cover up. That's a very insensitive approach. You definitely have to
that's exactly why I said that's not the best example.
Be very empathetic to it. So like, I think you can still get that message across, but I think the first thing you would start with is, oh my God, are you okay? Like, he had no right to do that. That's like totally like, that's BS. You have every right to, do whatever, but then kind of say, you know what? Maybe this area isn't the best area. So whenever you're here, just make sure you kind of cover up a little bit in this neck of the woods kind of thing, So it kind of softens, like you still say what you have to say, but you're not being insensitive by the first thing you say automatically, because you're making her now, She's the victim in that
Well,
situation.
I
where you're
wasn't
making her
necessarily suggesting that that the first thing that you say is, oh,
No, some people do say that though.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's usually the first response. Is, oh, maybe
But
you shouldn't
more
do
to
that.
the lines of just protection in itself, not necessarily just the advice of any type of advice where it's like this is what a woman can do to ensure she's safe in the while walking at home in the night. And many times the immediate response to that is don't worry about what the woman is doing. How about we just fix men? You know what I mean? And
I don't know. There's always gonna be that, man. Like
here's
there's always gonna
here's
be
why
that.
I say you shouldn't necessarily just throw that advice away because you should always be trying to protect yourself. Like look at it this way. You know as a man that you cannot go into certain neighborhoods wearing certain colors.
Hell no.
You know
Even
what I
if it's
mean?
not color thing,
Now,
I just period. I
you
don't
can't
want
go into
neighborhood.
certain neighborhoods wearing certain hats. You know what I mean? Now, if somebody gave you the advice, hey, listen, you're going there, don't wear this shirt, don't wear this hat.
Yeah.
Are you gonna say you're not gonna tell that person, hey, listen, why don't you tell them gangbangers not to gangbang?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. True. No, you're right. You're right.
So it's like if somebody's showing you a way to protect yourself, heed the advice. And also understand that also
It's like we have one of these every episode. One of these breakdowns every episode.
excuse me, the TV's on at the same time and I didn't like what I saw. Yeah.
Got pin. Nah.
So
Go
yeah,
ahead,
like
go
you
ahead,
should
go
you should heed the advice and also understand that everybody's working on trying to fix the problem of men. That's
Yeah.
what jails are for.
I mean, I don't think that fixes
Well, okay.
the problem.
Here's why I say well it eliminates part of the problem, right? Because if you do some shit and you get caught, you're off the streets. You know what I mean? So that's one less perpetrator
Yeah.
out there to victimize somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I hear that.
And I'm sure there's a plethora of people out there working to
Listen, again, for me, best way to protect anyone of either the same or opposite sex is education. And if someone's willing to tell you something that could potentially save your life or help you avoid uncomfortable situations, like Debo said, take heed to it. You don't have to sit there and entertain it or thank them for it or grovel at their feet for them telling you or even feel like you're being judged. That's the first thing. Don't feel like you're being judged. Just look at it as this person obviously cares about my well-being to a certain degree.
That part. It's not necessarily
listen.
about judging or trying to say you're responsible for fixing it. It's just I care enough to tell you, listen.
Just you don't want to get to that situation, so make sure like when you get there, just do this, and you'll be fine. Take that and then say, you know what? Thank you. Perfect. Thank you for letting me know that. I'll keep that in mind. Keep it moving. You learn a lesson a day in life, man. And if you ain't learning a lesson a day, you ain't living life. That's the way I look at it. People have given me so much, lessons like that where they said, yo, make sure you do this. Like when I was younger, I obviously didn't listen. I was like, yeah, whatever, this person's talking shit in my ear. But as I got older, I'm like, I'm going to take in what this person says. So people say, yo, don't do this, and you'll be fine. All the time I took all those advices, everything panned out the exact way they said it would. You know why? Because when they had the chance, they didn't do those things.
Oh, so
they're basically saying, damn, if I had
coming from experience.
Yes. So that's the way I looked at it. If someone has experienced something that I'm going through and they're telling me, yo, don't do this, that, because I did it and, yo, look what happened to me. I'm like, all right, cool. I avoid what they said and it works out for me. And I'm like, yo, same thing you were saying was true. You're like, told you. You just got to listen. That's like the key to life. Be willing to listen. It's not necessarily like, in order to, okay.
So I like that point
life
too. Be
is
willing
about
to
learning,
listen.
but in order to learn, you got to listen. And if you don't listen, then you're screwed, yo.
And that's
You're
like I
screwed.
said, I had that conversation with with my friend, and when I first saw that post, as a man, I got annoyed because it's like, oh, another thing trying to fix men, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I listened to her, and it wasn't me like listening to respond. It was me listening to like try to get a grasp of where she's coming from,
Yeah.
and I did figure out where she's coming from, and I learned something, just like you said.
Yeah.
So these are conversations that we definitely need to have.
Yeah. Honestly, I want to do a. I know we've talked about it since like 2020, mid 2020 or early 2020, but definitely want to have a sit down with other females.
We did it before.
No, a more serious one. That was a little too,
Well,
that was a little, the swiper that laughs. That was ridiculous. But nah, man, I'm saying like a real conversation to really like maybe like
also,
open
a
up.
conversation on a deeper level.
Yeah, like I want to open up the floors.
That
and
was a
talk to other
superficial
women.
conversation.
Yeah, I want to talk to other women and just really see like what the real issue is and how we as men can better, I guess. I don't want to say serve them or just better understand and be there for
How
them.
about how we as people can be better people
Yeah.
to other people?
Sure. But it starts with the two genders, I find.
Absolutely.
Because I find
We're almost at war.
Yeah. As much as men beef, we tend to get along or get over things a lot quicker than
The fair sex.
Yeah, so I'd love that. I'd love to have like a sit down and a chat with with
Some lovely ladies and
yeah, some experienced ladies, educated ladies. Like I really want to understand like what's really going on because I hear a lot of good things, a lot of positive things from some women, but then I also hear a lot of negative things. I just want to know where they all
as
come
much as
from.
they talk about toxic masculinity, women have varying levels of their own toxicity.
Yeah, and I'd love to have ladies on the show perhaps to discuss that. I don't want to.
Perhaps have a chat with my homegirl.
Yeah, I don't want to have a conversation without
female representation.
Exactly. To make it fair, but
I hear you.
It's just one of those things that as I get older, I observe now. Like I don't know, I can limit my interactions. I'm comfortable with where I'm at this point, but I just observe how people interact with like male and female, dating wise, getting to know each other. Just the relationship itself. It's just very. It's in a way it's very odd. There's no understanding. There seems to be some hidden animosity between the two sexes.
There's definitely a divide.
Underlying, yeah, it's very, I don't know.
Toxic.
Okay, maybe that's the best word. Like I could feel it in some like situations, man. Like I'm in some environments I'm in, like the atmosphere, you can just feel the tension. It's like, man, this is ridiculous. Sometimes you're talking to people and they throw out basically toxic and like comments, and then they'll apologize to you as a man and be like, "Oh, sorry, I know you're a guy. I didn't mean it like that." But I'm like, you clearly didn't even like hesitate to say it, so that was in your heart. But the fact that you realize after you said, "Oh shoot, there's a male in the room," I bet let me quickly hush because now it makes me look like one of them. Even though I never thought that person was like that till I heard that comment, I was like, yeah, okay. That's how you think of men. I know men do it too, and I've heard it a lot of times. And I'm kind of like, hey, dude, you can't be saying that to women or about women.
And that's important. That's important.
It's both sided, man.
That's part of the education there.
And this is where I say,
as a dude, if you see those toxic behaviors from men, you have to call them out on it.
Call it out. You're like, yo, bro, you can't be saying that, man. I've had to say that enough, but I feel like it's a younger generation that doesn't understand that. Because I've had to say, yo, bro, you can't do that. Why? She's cool with it. It's like, yeah, she's cool with it, but them people that are overhearing you and, giving you cut eye and everything this way, they ain't cool with it. And those are the people that end up causing the Karens. It's the Karens you got to watch out for. So we got to be educated. We got to educate, obviously, our youngins, But as a whole, adults too, as humanity, we got to communicate, educate each other, and again, be willing to listen. I say it again, that is the key. to life. You listen, and from listening, you learn, and that way,
and the important thing is
from
listening
there.
to understand, not listening to respond.
Exactly. Even if you don't agree, just say, you know what?
Agree
I
to
understand what
disagree.
you're saying. Like, I see your point. That makes sense. I don't agree with it, but damn.
You can
At least
disagree
I
and
know.
still be civil.
Yeah. At least I know. Next time I'm not gonna be so ignorant. I know the situation. I'll never bring it up again.
Simple.
I'm done. Key to life.